Is it time to create something different with your life and your body? Right Body for You will inspire you and invite you to a different way of creating the body and the life you truly desire. Ready? Let's go. Here's your host, Donnielle.
And welcome to Right Body for You. I am your host, Donnielle. Thank you so much for joining me in the past, in the present, or in the future, as I know you tricky people like to do. Am I actually saying that I think you can listen to something that I haven't even recorded yet? You betcha. And, changing time, moving time, bending time, getting rid of time completely is just one of the many things we talk about on Right Body for You. Each week we get to talk about the correlation between bodies and your life and the universe and just everything else in between. Honestly, I've spent, over 30 years at this point, helping people, dealing with people deal with themselves, help themselves, contributing to people. My mom did health talk radio shows, sessions, people. I was recently in Perth, Australia, and I was doing an expo. I was speaking at an expo, and they had a booth there and everything. And it was funny because the ladies who were running the booth, as they asked me, they said, "So, have you done many expos in your lifetime? Have you ever been here, done these kind of things?" And I actually kind of had to laugh because I have done so many expos. I did it with my mom at an early age for her radio show, for her books, for her sessions. I've done, and then from after that expos, I was in TV for, promoting the TV station itself. And so I remember at the ripe old age of 12, selling product in the back of the room while the speakers, my mom would have a group of speakers talking about various subjects in health. And I was in the back selling the books, selling the products, selling everything. So it's really funny. So I have literally spent 30 years of my life doing this and contributing to people and their bodies, helping to bring awareness to their bodies and what else is possible with them, including, weekly radio shows that my mom was doing. And now I get to do the weekly radio shows and explore so many fun topics, like the one that we're talking about today, which is report card time, choices. How do you do? And I laugh when we created this topic because it is such a thing. We do this. We wait to be graded. This reality tells us to look back. There's somebody in the chat room, the Donnielle does body. And I know the person who said this, and she's kind of has the same energy of Debbie does Dallas, which is a porno. So she's saying Donnielle does body. By the way, if you guys have never joined us in the chat room, I highly suggest you do. Go to, I was right, she says true story. Go to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com, and on the top you can, the menu there is chat room, type in your name and join us. You can, as this person's doing, make sarcastic remarks. This is always a contribution to the show. Talk to each other, ask questions, have some fun interaction. There's no download necessary, no fee, just join in the chat room and play with us. So, so we do this. It's report card time. For a lot of people, summer's just barely started, and they are waiting for their report cards to tell you or their parents how they did for the year. Were they a good student? Did they learn their subjects? I don't know if they do it anymore, but I used to be graded on my penmanship, and year after year after year, I was always told, "Oh, Donnielle is such a good student, so smart, loves to read and learn. if only we could get her handwriting better. Every single year, my report card said, if we could only get her handwriting better, only we could get her handwriting better. And what's funny, to this day, I still hate handwriting things. I love the digital age in which I don't have to write things. And I know it stems from this place. You know, I can still see my teacher writing in those little report cards we had in elementary school. If only we could get her writing better. Okay. And so it is really interesting how these things come up and that create different places and limitations in our lives and the different things they actually set in motion. Okay. And so this is kind of the energy that when I look at choices that we did make, choices that we didn't make, it really has this grading card, report card energy to it. Okay, because we've been taught from the second we go to school till, forever, is to evaluate how you did. Because reality says that to move forward, you have to evaluate what you did, how you did it, how you could have done it better, how you could have done it worse. Yes, how you could have done it worse, which cracks me up. When I was in TV, part of my career, I was doing local news broadcasts. Okay, so we would prep for doing this live TV broadcast and news. I'm sure a lot of you guys have watched a news program before, and so I did various positions in the news program, directed it, camera, audio, technical director, you name it, I did almost every position there. And so what was interesting is after the show, every single show, what we would do is meet together immediately. Immediately after the show, we would get together and do the postmortem. Literally, this is what it called, is the postmortem. Now, for those of you who may not know what postmortem is, I looked it up for you. It's called an examination of a dead body to determine the cause of death. Isn't that just a fun, light energy? Okay, so we would do this live broadcast. Then we would get together and do the postmortem. Now, in this reality, what we're doing as a broadcast of the postmortem is looking at it and saying, this was 10 seconds late, this thing happened, or this did well, but, let's prepare in case this happens, or, oh, yeah, all the electricity went out, but you pulled it out of our asses, and, you're able to do the broadcast still, and whatever, blah, blah, blah. So we did this postmortem of every single live news broadcast that we did. Why? To evaluate. It's a report card thing. What did we do right? What did we do wrong? And mostly, what did we do wrong? Even as we were calling it postmortem, the examination of a dead body to see the cause of death. Hello? Then you're just automatically looking for the wrong things or, the bad things, the judgy things. We should, instead of calling it a report card, we should call it a judgment card. What are you doing? I'm telling that my judgment card for the day. At night when so many of us goes to sleep and then our head starts going, oh, I should have done this, I have to do this, or I didn't do this. We should just call it the judgment card. We're going to do it at night. We're going to bed with our judgments. We're going to pull up a nice, warm pile of judgments to keep us warm at night. Sounds so fun and yummy, doesn't it? Sorry, welcome to my head. So, but when I was talking about choices, this is what comes up, okay? Because it actually is something that comes up a lot in my classes. It's really interesting. A lot of my classes or private sessions, because we do this, we review our choices. Did we make the right choice, the wrong choice? And then if we didn't do a choice, if we chose B instead of A, how often do we go and actually make wrong, negate, or put a negative value to the choice A, the choice we didn't make? so we can reason and justify the choice that we did make, okay? This is that energy again of we live in a society where we're supposed to make the right choice. Well, what if every choice you didn't make wasn't a wrong choice, okay? We live in a society where we're supposed to make the right choice. So how do we prove we made the right choice? By making the choice that we didn't make wrong. That's a place where we go, so glad I didn't do that. So glad I took the left turn instead of the right turn. I am so glad that I chose this as my major. Or, I am so glad I didn't continue having English as my major. I'm glad I did broadcast. It's like, what if every choice you didn't make wasn't a wrong choice? Okay? And this is what's really inspired this radio show, because I've seen this throughout the years, myself included. We do that so often because we live in a reason and justification society, you know? It's like you can't just choose for choosing's sake. You know, there's a negative connotation where it seems like a good idea at the time. No, you have to have a reason for it. You have to have the showing your work. You have to have the collected data that says it was correct, that you made the choice that you did, okay? And again, that gets us into the energy of judgment and decision and a bunch of all other fun, warm, fuzzy things. And so when we do this, when we function from this, we make the choices we didn't make wrong. We do this so that we make the choices that we didn't make. We make the choices that we did make the right choice. And the way to prove in this reality that we made the right choice, we start to make the choice we didn't make negative. Even if it wasn't before, we'll start to assign negativity to it. We can often create things that weren't there, haven't there, something bad. I know I'm not making, I get it. It's confusing because we do this so often. And I know I'm asking you to step outside the realm of comfort to really see where choice is literally just a choice. And we're living from a society that says that it has to be right or wrong. And then the only way we can be right is to make the choices we didn't make wrong. Because if they were a right choice, then we should have made them instead of just being another choice or an additional choice or a choice we just didn't make at that time. Okay? We're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, I'm going to give you a story, a personal story of mine that really brought home for me a lot of where in this society people were using this reason and justification thing, okay? And all the other places that I was doing it. Trust me, I am by no means not insane. Okay, I'm in the trenches with you guys. Trust me, my friends. But there is one story that I find very interesting that really kind of illustrates this. Not every choice you didn't make was a wrong choice. Okay? All right, so we're going to go for a quick little break. This is Donnielle. You're listening to A Right Body for You on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
The life and the body you secretly hope for is possible. Somewhere you know that, right? What if creating that body and life is not about deprivation and sacrifice? Would you be willing to choose it? What if it could be as simple as changing how you look at things? Right Body for You with Donnielle is a different kind of radio show. Each week, Donnielle invites you to you. She shares simple tools that you can use immediately to create changes in your body and your life. Something different begins now. Listen for Right Body for You every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer. It's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
This is Right Body for You with Donnielle. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in the U.S. 815-880-8255 or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. If you'd like to email a question, please send it to Donnielle@accessconsciousness.com. Now, back to the program.
And welcome back to Right Body for You. I am your host, Donnielle. Thank you for being on the adventure with me. It is always such fun and joy to share this week. Each week with you, I'm so grateful that you tune in and play with me. Play with me. Thank you. I kind of like that. Spend an hour or two with me, you know. You have lots of choices out there, speaking of choices, and I am honored each time you guys choose to listen to one of these shows and anything I can contribute to. And, you know, and if you do enjoy these shows, I do encourage you to join me in a live class or a private session. You know, like this weekend, you know, how I mentioned I was just in Perth, Australia a little bit ago, which was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, something like that. Well, this weekend I'm going to be in Brisbane, Australia, doing a Right Body for You workshop, a 2.5-day workshop where we go in depth with a lot of these tools. And because it's a live action class, there's a lot of interaction and getting to the root of really a lot of what's going on for you and your body. Okay. It's also being live streamed if you can't quite get to Brisbane, Australia this weekend. But hey, you know what? I hope you do, because Brisbane's a fun city. As a matter of fact, every time we go to Brisbane, Right Body for You and I go to Brisbane, Australia, we go to Access Consciousness founder Gary Douglas, his Antique Guild. He owns a store called the Antique Guild. And we go to the Antique Guild and try on jewels and see how our bodies interact with all these different things. So we always have a good time with that. And the class is being live streamed if that is of interest to you. If you can't show up in person, I do hope you check that out. Okay. And we are also doing 3 more Right Body for Yous this year. Right Body for You in Edmonton, Canada, Right Body for You in London, Right Body for You in Vienna, and I'm also doing some 3-day body classes in London and Vienna. I know, I love my life. I get to go to London and Vienna and Canada and Australia. You know, it's a fun life that I'm actually creating and generating, and I get to contribute to people like yourself who is listening to this, and I'm so truly grateful for that. You can go to Donnielle.com, DONNIELLE.com. As my producer says, I do get around. Wow, she's on a pervert kick today. I like it. There's a reason we get along so well. We're both perverts, like you, my friends. I know you're all perverts. That's why you like shows called Right Body for You. Truth. researchers, my producer says. Anyway, so, and today we're talking about choices, okay? And before the break, I told you that I would share with you a choice that I was presented with many years ago. And it was a very definite this choice or that choice. And it's really been interesting to see how that choice, that set of choices, what it's created for me in my life and what it has changed for me, okay? So what it is, sit around, kids, light the fire, pull up some hot cocoa, and let me tell you a story. So what it is a number of years ago, oh gosh, I'm going to say 8 years ago at this point, 8 years ago, I was kind of dating this guy, okay? We had been friends for a long time, weren't sure if we were dating or what we were doing, but we were kind of testing waters to see how we were together. And so I, one day he actually had the vulnerability and the bravery to ask a question. He's like, did we screw up? Should we be together? Meaning, like, should we get married? Should we be a couple? Should we be together? Boom. Should we be together? And, should we create a future together? And so it was definitely one of those moments where it's like, what do I choose here? Because if I said yes, then we were create a future. We got together, we'd get married, all that. And if I said no, then he goes off and marries somebody else or has a relationship with somebody else and creates a different life, and I create a different life, but it's not together. So it was definitely one of those moments where it's like choices. What do I do? Well, at that time I was like, oh, no, we shouldn't be together. We're good as we are. We're good as we are and what we should be. And, this is all we are. And we can be friends and blah, 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 whatever pansy-ass reasons and justifications I had at the time instead of just going, hey, no, not at this time. Anyways, so he wandered off. He wandered off and did his life. I've wandered off and did my life. And yes, we're still friends and we say hi every once in a while. And what's really interesting about this is I was having a discussion with somebody I was in Ireland. I was doing a class. I know, shocking. I was somewhere in the world doing a class. So I was in Ireland doing this class. And my host is like, hey, so have you ever been married? Have you ever, had kids or anything like that? And I'm like, I haven't had kids. I've never been married. And she's like, well, did you almost get married? I'm like, yeah, there was this one time, this guy, kind of like, hey, should we be together? And I said, really, that's probably the first time I've actually really looked at, thought about marrying somebody, because, I've dated other guys, but that was the first one that I really went, hey, maybe I should marry him or be together with him or whatever. And she's like, are you glad you didn't do it? And I went, what? And she's like, well, are you glad you didn't marry him? Was that the right choice? Are you relieved? And it was really interesting because she had this energy. I went, and I looked at her, I went, actually, no, I'm not relieved I didn't do it. I'm not relieved that I did do it. Or, like one way or the other, it's not relief. And I went, no, because, there's this theory in physics that for every choice you can make, you do make, okay? I can't remember the name of the concept right now, but that for every choice you can make, you do make. And so there's these variations of yourself out there in the world where you did turn left, you did marry that person, or you did take that job, or whatever it is. And so, I looked at her, I said, well, no, actually, it's not that I'm happy that I did or happy that I didn't. It's another choice. I said, because I can perceive totally the life I would have had with him. If I had said yes to him at that time, I would have been married with kids, living here, and having this kind of life. I said, and it would have been a good life. And she looks at me and she goes, yeah? I said, totally. I said, it would have been a good life. And she's like, I love that you said that. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, well, you're not making it wrong. She goes, every time somebody says they didn't get married, they go, oh, and I'm so glad I didn't. And I'm like, actually, no, I don't have that. It was just a choice I didn't make. But I really started looking at it. I'm like, so many people actually do that. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't marry him because, my life would have been so different than it is now. Because it's true. If I had married this guy, I wouldn't I can't say for sure, obviously, but chances are high I wouldn't be traveling the world, facilitating these classes, doing the private sessions, doing a weekly radio show. My life would have looked different. And I am happy doing what I am doing, contributing to you guys in that way. And I also know I would have been happy in that life. I would have been happy married to him. I don't know about somebody else, but at least to him, and I had kids with him. That would have been a great, happy life. So when you look at this, it's not that was a good life and this is a bad life, or this is the good life and that would have been a bad life, or I'm doing so much better now because I'm out helping the world. Well, that diminishes the life I could have had and the contribution I would have been as the wife and the mother or contributor to the community I lived in, or who knows what my life would have been like then. But how often do we do that? We go, to make it okay that I didn't choose to marry him, I'm going to say, I'm so glad I didn't do that because then I wouldn't be here now. And it's not about the reason and justification. It's just about it's the choice you didn't make, which is where I started to get to with this place of what if every choice you didn't make was a wrong choice? So what if you went back into your life and looked at the different choices? Instead of trying to paint the choices you didn't make with a negative brush to justify you not choosing that, what if you actually looked at it and went, okay, so everywhere I decided and judged that it was right to not make that choice, destroy and uncreate it, right, wrong, good, that's the pocket knife of poison now, which is what, is an example of the access consciousness verbal processing, which if you want to learn more, you can go to theclearingstatement.com and check that out. But just kind of shift and change that energy around it. And it's not just so you can feel better about your past. It's actually about creating your future as well, okay? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that when we come back from our next break, okay? So we're going to take a quick little break. This is Donnielle. You are listening to Right Body for You on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
The life and the body you secretly hope for is possible. Somewhere you know that, right? What if creating that body and life is not about deprivation and sacrifice? Would you be willing to choose it? What if it could be as simple as changing how you look at things? Right Body for You with Donnielle is a different kind of radio show. Each week, Donnielle invites you to you. She shares simple tools that you can use immediately to create changes in your body and your life. Something different begins now. Listen for Right Body for You every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Hey everybody, this is Dr. Dane here, and I would like to invite you to an adventure in being. I've just written and finished a new book known as Being You, Changing the World. Are you one of those dreamers? One of those people who's always known that other possibilities should be available but haven't yet been able to see them be created? Well, I wrote this book for you. In it, you'll find tools, processes, and unique perspectives to change the things you've always wanted to change but didn't know how. In it, you'll find an invitation to a different possibility for a way that we can be in this world that changes not only our lives, but by being us, allows us to contribute to changing everything planet-wide that doesn't work. Are you aware that truly great people, truly being them, is the only thing that has ever created a great change on this planet. Are you willing to step up? Are you willing to be one? Check out a copy of my new book, Being You, Changing the World. I invite you to go to beingyoubook.com for a free gift.
This is Right Body for You with Donnielle. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in the U.S. 815-880-8255 or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. If you'd like to email a question, please send it to Donnielle@accessconsciousness.com. Now, back to the program.
And welcome back to Right Body for You. I am your host, Donnielle. Thank you for joining me now in the past, or the present, or the future. I am always so grateful every time you choose to spend some time with me in Right Body for You and see what else is possible in the universe. And as always, you can go to Donnielle.com if you want some more information. DonnielleCom. Don't forget the two N's. I don't know what happens if you put one N in, but you don't get to my website, that I know. So it's DonnielleCom. And today we're talking about report cards, time, choices. How did you do? Because we do this. We look back upon our past to see how we did. We're doing existence right. We're doing our life right. We're doing this society right. Okay? I know the show's called Right Body for You, and I get it. But it's not about making the right choices. It's about making choices. Okay? And before the break, I was giving you an example of how I didn't marry this guy. And that most people, this is the place where we go, oh, well, of course it was the right decision to not marry him because this is how my life is. Because we have to validate that we didn't make that choice instead of just going, hey, didn't marry him. It would have been a great life if I had. My life would have been different. Who knows what it would have looked like, yada, yada, yada. Because this is what we do. We do this report card. We do this report card where it's an evaluation and judgment of what is going on in our life. And somebody in the chat room asked, what is the difference between evaluation and judgment? Okay, so I looked it up, because you always want to go to the word origin of words to see what the original energy is, okay, because the original language is energy. And so you want to go to when the word was assigned to the energy. Okay, so the original definition of evaluation is to find the value of, okay. So I find that interesting that we use, we do this, we evaluate, we look to the past to validate the future. So we have to look to the past and find the value in our choices. And one of the easiest ways to try to find value in our choices is to make the choices we didn't make wrong. To make the choices that were denied us wrong. And, a lot of people do that with money. Well, I'm glad I wasn't born into a wealthy family and I had to work for what I got because then I value it more, which is another value again. It's like I earned it, so I really deserve it. And so it is interesting what occurs with this, okay? And so, when I was talking about four, it's like it's not just about the one choice. Okay, so if I had not married this person, obviously I didn't marry him. So I have this choice in place to marry or not to marry, and I chose not marry. So if I did what this reality says of, make that a right choice that you didn't marry that guy. So I have to make it that it was wrong choice. Okay, because you get that. To be able to say, yes, I chose right by not marrying him, we have to prove to ourselves and society that marrying him was a wrong choice. Not just a choice we didn't make, but out and out a wrong choice. Okay? So I'm putting a lot of emphasis onto this because this is what we do. We make it wrong to prove, to validate that we shouldn't have chosen it. Okay. Here's the problem with that. If I put into place that marrying him would have been wrong, it's not just about marrying him. Because unfortunately or fortunately, depending on where you're looking at it, when you do a decision like that, when you put a judgment like that into place, it doesn't affect only that situation. That kind of judgment percolates out through your life and this reality and just keeps going into creating your future or not creating your future. So if I had said, oh, well, of course it was wrong to marry him, and I made the right choice by not marrying him because look at the future I've created. Well, then I start to negate the contribution that he and I still are to each other. I start to make the choices he made wrong and how that affects that. I start to make the choice, I start to make that anybody who got married is wrong or had kids is a limitation because, of course, if I had that life, I couldn't have created this life. Oh, hello, limitation. And then it's like, okay, well, where else am I disagreeing that those kind of factors limit me in any way? And it's like, oh, not only that, but suddenly I'm a limited person or individual. So it is really interesting how just this one choice, if we it's wrong, we have to make it wrong to prove that it was correct not to choose it, it doesn't just stay there. The energy permeates our future, our lives, our ability to create, okay? So we do this all the time. Oh, well, I'm glad I didn't win the lottery because if I had won the lottery, then, I would have just probably wasted it away. So you know what? I had no chance of winning the lottery, so I'm glad I kept my dollar because what a waste that would have been. Woo! Glad I didn't do that. And what's interesting is the other energy underneath that is always a convincing of ourselves that trying to convince ourselves of the opposite, okay? The opposite of what we already believe, that it was a good thing that we didn't do it, that it was in some ways the superior, when in actuality we may have been going, crap, wish I had done that, 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 wish I had done that. Oh, man, I wish I had done that. But no, I didn't choose it. So I didn't choose it. So, there must be reason, justification that I didn't choose it, that I chose the other thing. Even something as silly as with the lottery. Well, I'm glad I didn't waste my dollar because I wouldn't have won. And yet then the person behind you win. It's really, we do this to where we really start to destroy our future by invalidating the choices we didn't make. I know. Trust me, I get the foggy heads on this one. If you guys are still with me, listening, I am so grateful. And everywhere you are trying to figure this out, because it's not figure-outable, it just is. Would you be willing to destroy and upgrade that, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, black, and light, stars, boys, and beyond. As somebody in the chat room said, have you been in my head again? Yes! I can hear the fog. Feel the fog? Perceive the fog in the fog. It's foggy in here. And sorry, I'm also reading the chat room. The producer's trying to make me laugh. But she said I just cracked her head instead, which is actually quite funny. One. She goes, one. Okay, but we do this, you guys. We have to go. We we try to make the choice we didn't make a wrong choice to justify the choice that we did make, when they're just actually choices. How much more of a future would you be aware of and possible to create if you weren't so worried about your report card of choices? I'm glad I made that choice. I'm glad I didn't make that choice. Oh, it's a good thing I didn't. Glad I didn't. My life is so much better that I didn't. Didn't. You know, the more you say that word, the funnier it sounds. Didn't. Now I just feel like I'm chanting. Didn't. Sorry. Like I said, welcome to my head sometimes. It's a frightening place. Okay? And didn't, if we're always worried about what we didn't do, we're not actually present in our lives with what we did do. Okay? So let's take this a little bit further, this example. I'm not saying that when you go back and you look at these things, it's not about making it, I wish I had made it. Or, you know, because I don't sit there and go, oh, I wish I had married him because that would have been such a good life. It would have been a life, and this is another life. It's not about comparison. It's not about finding the rightness or wrongness of any of it. It's just about being present with all choices, all possibilities. Because, you know, if I said, oh, it was a good thing that I didn't marry him, I cut off all possibilities to where, you know, one of those romance stories, we're 50, 60 years old or something like that, and all of a sudden we're together for whatever reason, you know. But I cut off the creation of that future as a possible thing, okay? And more. Remember I said, it's not just about that one choice. All right, so we're going to take our last quick little break. And when we come back, I'm going to give you quickly some tips and tools about what you're supposed to do, how you can be with this, and what to do in situations so you're not lamenting, you're not being superior, you're not doing competition with timelines, you're not doing competition with the different choices, but you're just able to be present with the different choices. Anything that doesn't allow that, straight and great, right, wrong, good, bad, fucking nitrous, boys and guns. And we're going to take a little break. This is Donnielle. You're listening to Right Body for You on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
The life and the body you secretly hope for is possible. Somewhere you know that, right? What if creating that body and life is not about deprivation and sacrifice? Would you be willing to choose it? What if it could be as simple as changing how you look at things? Right Body for You with Donnielle is a different kind of radio show. Each week, Donnielle invites you to you. She shares simple tools that you can use immediately to create changes in your body and your life. Something different begins now. Listen for Right Body for You every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
When you're pondering the big questions like, is there more than this? How can I have a happy relationship? What would it take to like my body? And how do I make more money? Where do you go for information and tools? Check out the online store at accessconsciousness.com. Accessconsciousness.com has books, DVDs, instant video and audio downloads, online classes, and so much more. Subjects include abuse, changing your body, recovery, raising children, business techniques, tools to generate more money, how to have better sex and healthier relationships, just to name a few. At accessconsciousness.com, you can also find facilitators who teach local classes on a variety of subjects. Accessconsciousness.com, your one-stop shop for tools to assist you in changing your life. All of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory. Go to accessconsciousness.com to learn more.
This is Right Body for You with Donnielle. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in the U.S. 815-880-8255 or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. If you'd like to email a question, please send it to Donnielle@accessconsciousness.com. Now, back to the program.
And welcome back to Right Body for You. Thank you for joining me. Today we're talking about choices and the report card time. The things that we tend to do that says, I did this choice right, I did this choice wrong, or we have to make a choice we didn't make wrong to validate that we didn't make it. Because, look in this society, one of the things is like, oh my gosh, if you had the possibility of making a fantastic choice and you didn't choose it, what did you lose out on? Oh my gosh, what are you missing from your life? And so to not miss anything, to not have a place where we're doubting our creations or our future, we make the choice we didn't make a wrong choice so that we know we made the right choice. But what if every choice you did not make was not a wrong choice? It was just another choice. Okay? I know I keep saying that. I know it keeps sounding like a different language. I get it. But what if it wasn't about evaluating and judging the choices? What could you become aware of if you would just be present with your choices? Okay? Being present with the life now to create the future instead of living from the past. Okay? Here's the thing. Whether you're making excuses for not choosing something or wishing you had chosen it, you're making the past more important and vital in where your awareness is instead of the future. Because I'll tell you right now, every single time I look to the past and I go, oh, I wish I had not done that. Or I wish I had done that. I wish I had married him. Or I wish I had taken that job. I wish I hadn't turned left. I wish I hadn't taken that flight. Or I wish I had said this to this person at this time. I stop being present with my life currently as it is. And I can actually begin to perceive the future that I'm creating shrivel and change direction, okay? And this is what truly we're talking about with all of this. It's not about making the choices right or wrong. It's that every time you're remaining in the past, and you remain in the past every time you are making excuses for not choosing it, well, I'm glad I didn't choose that because X, Y, and Z. Or I wish I had chosen that because then my life would be like this and that would just be amazing. Every time you do that, you're making the past more interesting, more vital, and more important than being present and more important than creating a future. Okay? You're living in the past. You can't live in the past and create a future. So every time I lament, every time I see somebody who laments or is like, oh my gosh, I wish I hadn't chosen that, or oh my gosh, I wish I had said this at this time or done this, chosen that job, been with that person, they stop being present with their life. They stop being present with their present, with the present. They stop being present with the present, with their life in this moment, and they stop creating a future. Okay? Literally, they stop creating a future. Have you ever noticed those times when you are in that mode, you have to kickstart again? Every time you go, oh, I'm kind of sad because I remembered that I didn't marry him. I'm kind of sad because I wish I had done that, and then now it'd be different. How much time do you go, okay, buck up, little camper, let's keep going, and you have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, cowboy up, man up, start fresh, start anew. Well, what's doing that? What's creating that I have to step up and do this is the fact that you stepped out of being present in your life and creating the future and look to the past and being in the past again. Yes, somebody in the chat room said, suck it up. Exactly. So we always have that moment of like, okay, enough of that self-pity. Restart. Now the future. And you have this big burst of energy instead of just continuing along the path that you are already doing. So how much time in the past are you spending instead of being present to create the future? Okay? Oh, boy. I know I will be listening to this show again. I hope you guys get a chance to as well. There was a lot of interesting stuff there, a lot of energies that trying to shift and changes and getting it confusing. There are even some weird behind-the-scenes things that was like, let's not make this show happen. And you know what? It still happened. We all still did it. You guys hung out with me. I'm so grateful for all of that. So it's like, please listen to it again. What if every choice you didn't make was a wrong choice or a right choice, but just a choice? Go back, look and see at these choices and use the access consciousness verbal processing to see what you have judged about it, the rightness of the choices, the wrongness of the choices you did make or didn't make. And look what if that energy is contributing to your future. And if you get rid of that, what else is possible with the future now? Okay. What if every choice you didn't make was not a wrong choice, but just a choice? And if you guys are enjoying this, remember Brisbane, Australia this weekend for a Right Body for You class, and Canada and London and Vienna. And if you would like to, and if you would like to come and hang out with me in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the French Quarter, I'm doing this year the first ever Right Body for You Tools in Action. I'm very, 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 very excited about this class. It's the first one of its kind in Access, the first one of its kind in Right Body for You. And in that, we are bringing the manual to life. What that is not a classroom setting, it's a life setting. I'm designing activities to get you out and about in the French Quarter and to really use the Right Body for You tools in a life situation. And I get to be there to help you fine-tune it, to get different information, to know how to use the tools in a very intimate way. So I'm very excited to see this occur, and I'm limiting it to 30 spots so it can be that intimate occurrence, okay? So it can be that way that you get to use the tools, and I get to help you, because one of the things I hear most is, can I just put you in my pocket and take you with me? So this is one of the ways I've designed that. So you can put me in your pocket and take you with you. Yes. So check it out, Right Body for You Tools in Action. This year it's in New Orleans, Louisiana, the French Quarter. It's a city I love, and I can't wait to share this with you guys, okay? Next week is 5 tips for body thriving in summer. Even though I'll be in Australia where it's getting to be winter and a little bit cooler, for a lot of the world it is summer. And it's interesting what occurs with our bodies when we are during summer, and what can we do to actually thrive with that, okay? Thank you so much for joining me. Make it a fun week. Make it a happy week. I hope to see you back here next week, because guess what? Come rain, come shine, come winter, come fall, I will be here next week. Enjoy your body, because it's enjoying you. And until I play with you again, remember, always have fun. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to Right Body for You. Donnielle will return next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you and your body will join us. Until then, have fun.